everybody, came on today. It has taken me some years to finally release the story. Um, as you all know, I just released a planner for 2022 called Let's Work. Let's Work is spelled WERK, not with the O. I'm here today to give you the backstory of how all this stuff came about. So, I'm gonna try not to cry, you all, so bear with me, and I want to make this quick. About 10 years ago, my husband and I were getting it in, right? And all of a sudden, he's like, "Babe, you may need to get up." And I'm looking at him like, "What you mean I need to get up?" I'm smelling myself, doing the check and all that. Like, what is going on? He never asked me to do that before. So then he grabs my breast and squeezes, right? Milk comes out. We've been trying to conceive for years, you all. So at this point, I'm jumping with joy. My spirit is high. I'm excited. The Lord finally did it, right? uh, so in the midst of all of this, me and my husband are at odds. So at this point in my life, I had lost my house, my husband, due to me losing the house, and my father had just died, all in the same week, you all. I'm freaking out. I can't figure out how come I can't control these emotions. I mean, I get it, grieving my father. I was a true daddy's girl. That was tough for me. But all the stuff that was going on in my marriage, I couldn't figure it out. What happened? What went wrong? I understand as people we grow, the things that we like tend to change as we grow and things of that nature. But we were just too far at odds, and it had gotten to a point where even my family, my mother and my sister, started to notice the change in me. And I'm like, I'm still me. What is everybody talking about? I honestly was not understanding what nobody was talking about at all. I didn't get it. I felt like I was still being me, although I also kind of felt like I was dying inside, if that makes sense. So that said, um, give me a minute. I apologize. So at this point, I'm trying to figure out how to save my marriage because my sex drive went from 1,000 to zero. I'm like, even I wasn't understanding why I wasn't desiring my own husband. Of course, he is flipping out, because I can't come to bed and have sex with my wife. I just did not. Now, if he wanted, don't get me wrong, if he wanted it, I would, do what I had to do. But as far as me initiating, which is a lot of times us as ladies, we feel like we don't have to initiate. Well, that's never been me. But I just never would initiate the sex anymore. I just wasn't as, I can't think of the words I'm going to use right now, but as attentive during sex as I used to be. Just a lot of things were going on, and we were truly, truly, truly at odds with each other. And I wasn't understanding what was going on with me either because it was not me. So after the one day I just told you all about, we were having sex and the milk came out. I got all stupid excited and everything, and I had to tell myself, fool, women don't even start developing milk in the breast until what, the ninth month. So there's no way you are 9 months pregnant. Sometimes you are special. So at this point, I start freaking out. Holy crap, I got breast cancer. My breast shouldn't be leaking like this. Mind you, my breast, I went from a 36C to probably now, I'm probably a 38 double D. I haven't even yet, my breast just started swelling and swelling and swelling. And as well, I've always been a certain size. Don't get me wrong, I'll gain weight and I'll lose it. I'll gain weight and I'll lose it. When I say lose it, I mean I exercise, work out, get a personal trainer, things of that nature. So that was never a problem for me. Then I just started seeing different stuff. Okay, Kidada, well, I wasn't even in my 40s when this happened. But I'm like, okay, you're getting a little older. Maybe this can't be the middle age spread. What is going on? So I mean, my clothes, like I've always had a small waist. Everything else was thick, but I always had a little bit of waist. Everything is spreading. Now I'm depressed, trying to figure out why my body is doing what it's doing. What is going on? I'm not. My sex drive is zero. My husband's getting ready to leave, or he gonna step out, or I'm not focused at work because my brain is just not clear. It was a whole mess. And this is why I also, even before this, I try to never judge a person's situation because you never know what somebody's dealing with. I apologize, behind closed doors, right? a lot of people won't tell you what's going on with them. And the story that I'm about to tell you today, or that I'm telling now, please don't feel sorry for me. This is not a sympathy video. This is not a ploy, anything like that. This is me healing. This is me trying to help somebody else because somebody else may be going through the same symptoms and the doctors have not gotten down to the bottom of it. So, sorry, I'm trying to get through this without crying. I got to swallow those lumps. So I go to the doctor, Dr. Joe, and they're like, okay, well, your breasts are leaking. Something's not right because you took a pregnancy test. You're not pregnant, blah, 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 blah. They run all these different tests on me. They come back. They say, Mrs. Miller, I'm sorry, but you have a condition called prolactinoma. Prolactinoma. So it's altogether prolactinoma is the name of the disease. Devil is a lie. You ain't gonna be putting nothing on me, you know. Cause see, I was super saved then. Nope, I ain't got no blah 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 blah. So all the test results kept coming back. You all that I had this disease called prolactinoma. Prolactinoma is when the body produces, because the word lactate comes out of there. If you get that together, let me get my words together. If you listen, the word lactate is in the word prolactinoma. So pro means more, right? Or higher or above. So that means higher lactation rate is what it was. All that being said, they're trying to figure this out. Now, keep in mind, me and my husband have been trying to conceive a child for years. I knew as when I was born with a hernia on my right ovary. So at 3 months old, the doctors had to go in because the hernia in my ovary was black. So they had to go in at 3 months old and remove my whole right side of my reproductive organ. So I have no right ovary, no tubes, no nothing over there. So as I became a teenager, my mom started to explain to me, Kidada, you're only going to have a 50-50 chance of having children. At that point, I'm probably, I don't know, 12, 13. This is right around the time when I first met Miller, my husband. And I'm like, who cares? You know, I got a long way to go before I get grown. Nobody's thinking about that right now. So as I got older, and let me stay right here. So at the age of 13 is when I met my husband, Sean. It was at this point, my very first time having sex, you all, I got pregnant, right? Just my luck, of all things. You got to tell your mom that you're no longer a virgin with your parents, because my dad was in the picture as well. But you got to tell them that not only did you lose your virginity, but you're pregnant, okay? So, go on. So I ended up having a miscarriage. Several miscarriages by the same man. 7 to be exact. No, I'm going to take that back. 5. And then when I turned 19, me and him had broken up for about a year or two. I had gotten pregnant by my crush, high school crush, right? So at that point, I was pregnant with twins. So and the funny part, not funny, but that story. So when I was carrying the twins, you got to understand this backstory to get to what I'm trying to tell you guys. So I got pregnant with twins. I had a tubal ligation, right? So one of the babies got stuck in the tube, the other one made out. But let me go back. I said that too quick. So one of the babies was in the tube. So they're like, you got to have emergency surgery, blah, 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 blah. I'm freaking out. I don't know what's going on. They take this baby out of my tube. As I'm healing, I'm still feeling sick. I'm still bleeding. Something is still going on within my body. Well, come to find out that the twins separated. One made it through the tube. One did not. Excuse me. Which is the one that I had the tubal ligation on. So at this point, my parents are freaking mad. They go to sue my doctor. It was a whole big mess. I'm not even going to mention his name. There was a whole big lawsuit that went on. But he left the country and went back to where he was from. And I was left here to heal. So, okay, get past that. So you're noticing I'm telling you all of these pregnancy stories and reproductive stories and things of that nature. Nobody can get it together. Nobody can figure it out. I finally get to the point where I find Dr. Towski. Love him. I'm not even sure if he's still practicing, but he was at St. Anthony's Hospital at the time. He finally did a test, and he shot this stuff. It was blue dye that he shot up into my good tube. What he was trying to do was to see if that dye was going to come out of the other end of the tube, what was going to happen. So what he found when they pushed this dye in was that the doctor who did my tube ligation totally cut my tube off. It's my understanding that when you have a tube of pregnancy, they're supposed to cut where the baby is at. And don't get me wrong, I didn't know exactly where the baby, had laid at inside the tube and things of that nature, but my new OBGYN could tell. So the doctor who did my tube ligation, instead of doing the cut, getting the baby out, and then, so we're not actually sealing, they're supposed to leave it open, in my understanding. Well, they completely sealed off my tube, which means this blue dye they're shooting into me is not going where it's supposed to go. It was at this point we understood that we had to forego in vitro fertilization, short IVF. I like ice, V like Victor, F like Frank. In vitro fertilization. You guys, that was one of the hardest things physically I went through in my life. With in vitro fertilization, what you're trying to do is fertilize so many numbers of eggs so that they can go and reinsert these eggs into your body so that the uterus can hold the baby and pregnancy can go on, right? We did 3 rounds of this, you all, and the babies would not stick. They would not stick into the uterus, the embryos. My embryos always got fertilized every time. They said the husband had super sperm. So that was our running joke. That's kind of how we got through this whole in vitro thing, because when I tell you every day I had to stick myself with 5-6 inch needles down into my muscle, into my butt cheeks, into my stomach, everything to, fertilize my body and give me, and that was rough on my body, you all. We did this 3 times, no baby. We were blessed because my husband worked for the state and their insurance covered the in vitro fertilization 100%, you all, at that time. Back then, in vitro fertilization was $12,000 some odd dollars. I'll say 12.5. I'm talking people were losing their homes. They were putting up their homes to try and have children, taking out loans, borrowing from family. I mean, doing God knows, whatever to try to make this thing happen because a lot of people's insurance didn't pay for it. So even in the midst of my tears of knowing that all the stuff I put my body through and I still can't have children, I still had to thank God because somebody lost their home and still don't have this baby. Somebody is in debt, with these loans and they still don't have a baby. Some do. And that was one of the hardest things for me. And I was one of the first people in my area to go through the in vitro fertilization. So a lot of people had questions. Women that I would see that I knew were infertile as myself, I would give them my doctor's information, and have them go. And these women were they were getting pregnant. Do y'all know how that crushed my spirit? How it crushed my soul? And it wasn't their fault. And a lot of women kind of like pulled away from me and didn't even want to tell me that they were pregnant. I mean, totally like just separated themselves from me. And I didn't know if they were pregnant. I had this baby until after the fact. But I'm still telling them, it's not your fault. This battle is between me and God. I just want to be able to help. So that kind of, made me feel good as a person, knowing that I was able to pass on some information that helped another woman heal, helped another family heal, because we can't just say that it's just all women, because some of the men who are involved are hurt too, that their spouses can't have children, and I've always been a person, call it selfish, call it what you want, but at that point I never wanted to adopt, because at that point I felt like God owed me that. Okay, nobody owe you nothing. Y'all know I say that all the time, but I felt like God owed me that as a woman, at least, to be able to bear a child, to be able to give my husband his namesake, and that's something that I fought with and I still fight with today. Being 46 and my husband's 48, and a lot of our friends, their children are grown and they're starting to have grandchildren and things of that nature, it just hurts, So I went through all of this, you guys. Let me get through this story. So I went through all of this. And I'm fighting through depression, my whole life, thinking that I'm not good enough, thinking that I'm half of a woman, thinking that, my husband is going to leave me for somebody he can have kids with. I even told the man in the beginning of the marriage, once I realized that this in vitro wasn't working, look, I can't give you your heart's desires. I can't give you a child. So if I need to get out the way so that you can go and, have a child with someone else before you get too old, it's going to kill me, but I'm willing to do that. And I meant that. because I didn't want to be selfish. Because again, I couldn't do nothing about it. This is between me and God. And the man said, baby, I'm okay if it's just me and you. And even him saying that, you all, it's still hard every day to walk in this, thing and know that I'll never be a mother. And people say all the time, oh, you've mothered children, you've mothered children. Yes, I have, but it is not the same. I appreciate you all trying to empathize with me, but it's not the same. So, fast forward, we get past that, back to this prolactinoma, right? So I'm building up. You had to know all of these stories of what happened to get to this point. All these years, you all, had they done the proper testing, had they done the proper testing, and they may not, the doctors may not have been aware to even think to do this, test, because it's very rare. I'm just now finding people all over the world who have the same condition, but nonetheless, had they done the proper test and been thinkers and got it done, I could have had children today. So I found out I had this disease called prolactinoma, which means, and mind you, I already knew that I had a thyroid issue that was overactive too. The two kind of went hand in hand. Well, when I got an MRI, my doctor sends me to get this MRI. And in this MRI, and I wish that I was really tech savvy so that I could do a video that would show videos and pictures, but like I said, I'm just trying to get through this video at this point. But so I get my MRI done. Doctor comes back, they got this strange look on their face, and I'm like, huh? What's going on? They said, Miss Miller, Miss Miller, you have a brain tumor. Excuse you? So I'm like, okay, what is going on? Where does tumor come from? How does this correlate with this prolactinoma? What? I'm freaking out, y'all. I'm freaking out. So they said, ma'am, you have what's called a pituitary tumor. I said, okay. Now, I always correlated pituitary tumors with, there was a man who lived in my hometown called Robert Watlow, and he was one of the tallest men in the world. And he had a pituitary gland problem, which could cause him to continue to grow and grow and grow. The pituitary gland controls our height, you all, and it controls a number of all of our hormones that goes through our bodies, right? Hence, let's go back to me not understanding why I'm not feeling like myself, why me and my husband are at odds, why my family is looking at me like I'm a brand new person. They don't know who I am, why I'm just in this shell. I don't want to be around anybody because I'm just so mad. I'm just so hurt, and I can't figure out what's wrong with me. These doctors can't figure out what's wrong with me, but I know I got to keep pushing regardless. Y'all don't know how many days I've sat with a 9mm pistol in my hand, in my head, to my mouth, because I was tired. I was tired of fighting. I was tired of trying to figure it out. I was tired of God not answering me. I was tired, y'all. I was tired. But he kept me, because I shouldn't be here. So I got this tumor, right? This pituitary, and I'm like, okay, so the pituitary tumor is a gland, technically, and it's a size of a pea, you all, literally like a pea that we eat, the food peas. It's literally that small. It was getting to a point where I couldn't see on certain days. It was getting to the point I was having headaches. It was getting to the point where I was throwing up. And I'm just like, God, all these things are going on with me. I gotta be pregnant. And this is even years after the diagnosis. Something is, going on in my body with this tumor and the condition that I have, you all. Every day, I feel like I'm pregnant. If you're a mother, if you've ever been pregnant and carried, you know what I mean. From the nausea to the tiredness to just everything. This is what my body goes through every single day. So mine was overactive. So I got this little pea-sized gland in my head. Lord, how can you have a tumor on top of a pea-sized gland? How is that possible? After getting the MRI, that's when they realized that my tumor is on the pituitary gland, but it's protruding and it's sitting on my optic nerve. You know, we have that nerve that comes from here to here. And so the optic nerve is here, but the pituitary gland is like right in here. So like my ear would hurt, everything, but my left side, I was having a hard time with my vision and excuse me, just everything. I couldn't figure this. It was just so rough. Then they put me on the medicine for it because at this point it was too close to my optic nerve, and they thought that they went in and took it out, that I would go completely blind, and I was not willing to do that. So that was a tough decision that I had to make within myself. Do I live with all these symptoms, or do I go through, let them go up my nose and get this thing out, and knowing that 99% of the time this tumor is going to come back? Okay? Why would I put myself through that? Then I said, Kidada, well, you can maybe have some Lord, what's the word? I can't get my words out. Forgive me. Kidada, you can finally have some peace for a while. You know, you can live well for a while if you get this out. But is the surgery, the recovery time, the tumor coming back, inevitably coming back, is it worth it? It's been a journey, you all. When I tell you all, I'm still healing. I was in church at the time. I had just given my life to God because at this point, I had to figure out what I was doing wrong. What was wrong with me? What was wrong with my marriage? That was the only thing that I knew. That's the only thing I, I that was the only way that I knew that I could continue to live. Because I knew God. Grew up in the church and all this kind of stuff, but you got to get to know him for yourself. So I joined church. I gave my life to God, got a church family. And, you know, a lot of times when you're dealing with Christians, and again, I'm not here to badmouth any religion. You believe what you believe. All of us got to get to the gate and be judged. But when I got in this thing, you all, I mean, I got stuff from people telling me that I should leave my husband because I was saved. He was not. People telling me, mind you, when I first got, I was still smoking cigarettes, y'all. My nerves. And I'm not here to make an excuse. I'm just telling y'all my story. I had started because I had quit. My dad had right at that time I had quit a little bit before that. Then my dad died, and I started smoking again. So then I'm at church. I got to hear about this. People come to church smelling like smoke, and da, da, da. You know, church folks will condemn everybody but themselves. And I understood, you know, and I really tried to make sure that if I walked into church, I didn't smell like smoke or anything like that. But I'm like, people don't know my struggle. And I kept trying to hide the things that I was doing to help myself, not kill myself. Okay. So I was going to church, you all. I was learning the word. I was learning the ways of the Lord. And I was trying to implement these things in my life. And I just kept saying, you know, to myself, by Jesus' stripes, I am healed. You know, this tumor is gone and blah, 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 you know, just everything, but speaking life over myself, everything. When every Sunday I was the worship leader at my church, I would get up on that stage and I would almost pass out every Sunday just because I don't know if it was the enemy fighting against me, to be honest with you, on some days. It was the tumor a lot of days because it throws off my balance at times. My equilibrium is off. So it throws me off. I battle with vertigo. Vertigo is a disease where the room like spins, like if you ever been drunk or if you ever been on a roller coaster. I'm not roller coaster, merry-go-round, something goes round and round and round. Yeah, I deal with that on a daily, well, not daily. God, it's getting better, but majority of the time. So all of these things, and I'm up there and I'm praising God still in the midst of this, and I'm holding on to pulpits as I'm singing and I'm talking to the people and I'm preaching and I'm trying to let them know because only certain people in the church knew that I had a tumor. My mother knew, and of course she went for the prayer line, so my pastor knew and my first lady. But outside of that, nobody else knew about this tumor. And so I would be sitting in church and I would just be sitting like this and I would be rubbing my head and my pastor would look at me and he'd be like, that tumor messing with you in. And he would instantly jump down and come pray for me. But guess what, you all the prayer, all the fasting, all everything, nothing worked. I'm not saying that God does not work. That's not what I'm saying. God is a keeper, baby, all day long. But what I'm saying is it wasn't in the cards. God has another plan, so I have to deal with this, right? So by this point, I'm mad with God. I would just be transparent with you. Not only did you leave me out here motherless, half of a woman, now I got this tumor. Me and my husband about to get a divorce because I have no sex drive. I came into your house to get healing, to get help, to move forward. I'm not getting that. I'm just getting criticized and nothing is getting better, God. And I don't understand. And, we're not supposed to question God. And you're steady going and people are telling you, I feel like I'm going crazy. And people are steady saying, Kidada, you don't need no therapist. You just need Jesus. You need to pray more. You need to fast more. You needed this. No, what I needed was therapy. And I know that now, so I'm telling you this today. If you're in a situation, if you've ever held a gun to your head, to your mouth, done anything to try to cause harm to yourself, just been in that place, get you some help. It's okay. I will never ever again allow anybody in anybody's church to tell me how to walk this walk. But I was new at it, y'all. I was new. I didn't know. And you got to get to know God for yourself. So I'm walking this thing and I'm looking at these people that are saying that they're blessed abundantly above and beyond. And I am the head and not the tail, and nothing ever goes wrong. And the joy of the Lord is my strength and all of this. And I'm trying to get this, y'all. I'm digging deep because I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be the Christian people looking at like, why she claiming to love God and Almighty, and he's the head of the, you know what I mean, lover of her soul, and he can take away all her ailments, and she went around here depressed and all that. That's not the love of God, people. The love of God would have been you getting down tarrying with me. The love of God would have been you telling me, Kidada, it's okay to get you some help. Because at the end of the day, my best friends couldn't help me, y'all. Tia and Chris, I love y'all because I know I haven't been the friend that y'all met, but I'm fighting like hell to get her back. And I thank you all for sticking with me, for praying with me, for praying for me. To my mom and my sisters, my family, I owe a lot of people apologies because I haven't been me. And I'm fighting now to get back. So I've been living with this tumor, you all, for a little over 10 years now. And it's not been easy because, like I said, on the outside, I look perfectly fine, right? There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. But I am a pituitary tumor survivor. I had my friend Rance make me this outfit just to do this video. I was going to pay a videographer, you guys, put on all this pretty makeup and get cute and do this video. But I just wanted to be transparent today and get my story out in hopes to help somebody else because you don't know. And again, this is not no sob story. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't be like, oh, girl, I got a tumor. The story is not about that because you can't heal me. You can't help me. You can't save me. I'm telling my story to free myself, to heal myself. Hence, I started a mentoring group of women and men for new business. Because when I started my business, Creations by Kidada, it was just so much. I keep telling you all, I had a wedding that went all the way left 2 years ago in August. And I thought I was going to die because I had stressed myself out so much. And there's something about with this tumor, I can't let my stress level get too high. And that's when the vertigo and things like that kick in. But my stress level was so high, you all almost didn't even make the wedding because my blood pressure was 200 over something because I was that worried about doing the right thing by this wedding. But I said never again. So I've been fighting for my life. Fighting for my life. So I get out here today, like I said, to encourage somebody else to push on, to encourage somebody to get the help that they need. I'm probably 5 months into therapy now. I'm starting to learn myself more again. I feel like I lost 10 years of my life and I can't get those 10 years back. So I'm fighting to go forward. Just continue to pray for me. Again, and let me say this, my tumor is benign. It is a non-cancerous tumor. Praise God. So that was the one big factor that I do want to put in there. But I want to say, just be kind today and every day. You never know what a person is going through, and you don't want to catch the butt end of what a person is going through because you're being a jerk, and you get that whooping or that lashing that wasn't even meant for you. I'm going to continue to fight every day to get Kidada back. You see, meet Kidada. I'm meeting myself again. Wife, godmother, sister, aunt, friend, and pituitary survivor. I'm learning myself. Every day's not going to be a good day. Every day's not going to be a bad day. That said, I created a planner for 2022. If you guys want to go grab it, it is on Amazon. It is my healing space. And I'm opening up my space to anyone else who wants to take this healing journey with me. I have a lot of great quotes. You'll learn Kidada's crazy personality. I have quotes from Coco Chanel as well as Erykah Badu. That kind of gives you my side. I got my hood side. I got my bougie side. Then we come together as one. And I got some scriptures in there as well because I'm nothing without God. I have goals that we're going to go through, weekly, monthly goals, challenges, all kind of things are in there. And my brand colors for my business came with a collection are black, white, and rose gold. And those are the colors I incorporated into this planner. I named it Let's Work, WERK, because I always tell my students that when you're an entrepreneur, you have to go that extra mile. You have to work extra hard. And that's why I put the E in work. And I've spelled it like that since probably 5 years ago when I started a workout team. And I called them the work team with an E on it too because I was extra because we actually did personal training. But I thank you all for being here. I thank you all for listening to this story. I hope it helps you understand me a little better. I hope it may help you understand something that may be going on within yourself or somebody that you are, one of your loved ones. If you want to cop the planner and heal with me and take this year journey, I will drop the link in the description box below. But I thank you guys so much. I am Kidada Miller. I am Coach K. And I am a pituitary tumor survivor.